Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And Rose McGowan is a very interesting figure for a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons is that although a lot of people know about her being a Hollywood actress, although a lot of people know that she dated Marilyn Manson, although a lot of people know how she was intricate in the takedown of Harvey Weinstein. Some of the things that they don't understand about Rose is the fact that she actually grew up in a cult. Let me repeat that. She grew up in a cult. Now, I would even argue that aside from the cult she grew up in, as she progressed as a very young actress, she grew up in another cult. And this woman has been the subject of probably an amount of psychological and physical abuse that none of us could really imagine unless we were on the inside. And I think it would be hard for us also to pinpoint when that type of abuse began. Because when you're in a cult, and that's what you grow up in, there are so many things for you to go back and reflect on that you may not realize was abuse and was taking place at the time and later on in life. Now, Rose happened to go on Fox News and start talking about the cult of the left and the Democratic Party. And this was pretty surprising to me. Now, at the same time, I'm not here to tell you to be a conservative. In fact, we all know there is a right cult, the MAGA cult, right? The ones that just couldn't hold Trump to account on so many things and instead wanted to believe fairy tales on message boards and literal, professional liars like Bill Barr and warmongers like John Bolton, right? And James Mattis and all these people throughout, okay? So we're about being intellectually honest here. And as bad as, say, the two-party system is, right, to close that gap and try to outwardly make it a uniparty, because so much of it is already a uniparty beholden to a predator class and a plutocracy system, right? But to outwardly do that would be that much more devastating to humanity. And we are seeing this devastation throughout our culture right now with zero accountability, with total lockdowns, with selective enforcement, with speech becoming ever more and more criminalized, and censorship at a level that we have never seen in this country being deployed through technological means that were only whispers of dreams decades ago. Okay? So with that being said, I do want to remind everybody to thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Join the Burmis Brigade. We are well over a year demonetized. We have 2 strikes that are completely unjustified, in my opinion. But we want to grow. We want to be on the biggest platform. We want to be on the monopoly. Okay, and we've backed up our channel to Odyssey. Thank you, Odyssey, for doing that. Just in case we get taken down. We had the channel taken down. We got strike 3 for a video on transhumanism that magically, all of a sudden, the strike went away and the video was back up. Within an hour of them taking me down, sending me the emails, we've done the videos, we've shown you this. That's where we're at right now. Okay, so at the very least, what I need you to do is make that free Rockfin account, right, where our videos are uncensored. For instance, there's about 10 more minutes in today's video where we talked about the boop boop passports and the legislation being drawn in Iowa. We were able to talk about a lawsuit out of Buffalo, New York, involving a medication we can't talk about here. So please make the free Rockfin account at the very least. Without, further ado, let's get into it and let's start watching this clip.
Democrats control two branches of government and are attempting to control the third by packing the Supreme Court with liberal justices. On top of that, the fourth estate, the media, continues to look the other way. And now, my next guest says she is fed up with the politics of it all. Joining me now with her first Fox News appearance is one of my heroes, Rose McGowan, former actress, best-selling author, change maker, and one of Time Magazine's Persons of the Year. May I say, Rose, that you are also my Person of the Year, if not for several years. Having been in several years, I have no doubt moving forward. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it.
So let's start. You know, obviously, there are those that are so hardcore that when a person like this goes on Fox News, they are totally ripped out of any circle that was still left in that left circle, no pun intended, right? Because she's already been shadow banned and drugged through the mud, but you see it everywhere. Jimmy Dore goes on this. He's no longer a lefty. Give me a break. Those guys are, you know, as real left as it gets. At least what they think is progressive and left and beneficial to people, right? So, number one, she's coming over to this. You know, you guys know how I feel about Time Magazine. But at the same time, this Me Too movement was very, very much co-opted. And it was only after the fact of so much struggle and really success, because I didn't think she was going to get Weinstein. She got him. She got him. Despite Black Cube, with their former Mossad agents tracking her and trying to discredit her, among every other dirty trick in the book. You know? But again, Me Too was never really about that. It was controlled. There were certain people that could get Me Too. There were certain people that couldn't. There were certain things you could talk about. Child abuse was definitely not one of them. So let's continue.
Thank you so much for having me, Tammy.
You know, this is, you are known by many people based on how the media has chosen to portray you. It's in snippets. It's in blocks. We know that your life has been unique. You've had important experiences that you've taken action on. But not a lot of people have heard directly from you about why that's important, what you're doing now. You're an entrepreneur. You're a businesswoman. We're going to talk about that soon. But talk to everyone here who may, for the first time, may be seeing you directly after hearing your name for so long, having done such a great job in standing up for your rights, your dignity, and the dignity of women everywhere. Why did you do that, and what has it meant to the quality of your life, and why is it so important for everyone to understand?
Now, before she answers, I do want to, again, emphasize that although she doesn't talk about Hollywood a lot, I mean, talk about cults. Talk about cults. The cult of Hollyweird is very, very real. Some of the worst people ever. Terrible people.
Well, as some of you know, as some of you don't know, if you've heard my name or read anything on me in the media, I grew up in a cult, and it was a very famous cult called Children of God, and it gave me a superpower. It gave me the ability to see the control and the propaganda machine, especially in the U.S., for what it is and how it harms people, and how the left can harm people just as much as the right if they go very, very deep into it and ignore all other aspects of kind of reality in a way, and that you're serving a master that might not be serving you. And I always say I come in peace. I am not here to make people feel bad about their political choices, but I am here to say that you might be in a cult too if you don't know the signs. And I do believe Democrats most especially are in a deep cult that they really don't and know about and aren't really aware of. And I leave the Republicans alone more because I do respect people more that are like, this is what we are, this is what we're about, this is what we're against. Whereas I find that the Democrats are really pretty much almost against all the same things. They're against changing the world for the better. And they're for keeping a system in place that is for so few people and benefits so few, but they masquerade as the helpers. We would do this. The world would be perfect if only those Republicans would get out of the way. Well, okay, you've got control, so now what?
Well, here's the thing. And again, when she talks about respect, here's what I don't respect. The intellectual dishonesty regarding the Bush administration, the intellectual dishonesty regarding neocons and Sean Hannity and how he behaved through that whole era of Ron Paul Republicans, right? The true Tea Party movement before it was co-opted, right? I don't respect that. I don't respect them not being intellectually honest about Syria and what happened in Duma and the OPCW reports. I don't respect them not being able to demand that all charges be dropped against Assange immediately and making that a talking point that they would go to again and again and again and again. And like I said, a lot of this is about a uni party, but to outwardly do it is even worse. And she points to real things here. You know, these people act like they want to save us all and do great things for us, but the system we've had has constantly oppressed us more and more and more and taken away our autonomy more and more and more.
What are you going to do to make the world better?
You see, it comes down to an issue of betrayal, really, because neither one of us are Republicans, right? I mean, we are the women that were supposed to be the beneficiaries of all of these programs and promises of the Democrats. And here we are in a world where Republicans have been demonized. And yet, you know, I identify as a conservative. It does irritate certain people, but it really is about freedom. It's about personal freedom, about living lives that best suit us. And that's what you're doing as well when it comes to the choices. Look, a great actress. You're a writer. You are a businesswoman. You have a new beloved. You actually have time for a relationship. And you're happy. You're becoming...
Look, here's the thing with that conservative nonsense. I'm a constitutionalist, okay? I'm not a libertarian. I understand that we need a government, all right? I'm not an anarchist by any means. I'm not a conservative. I mean, I've grown up socially liberal all my life, right? Like I said, you're doing something with another adult. It's not hurting anybody. Go for it, buddy. Go for it, baby. Whatever you want. I'm not involved. You know, different strokes for different folks. But again, when we get into these conservative, liberal, you're in a box. You're boxed up. You're Bobby Box-a-lot. And you're warding people off a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to shamelessly take this minute to let people know that we're not in that box over here. And that what we want to do is bring people together no matter what. And I'm going to be throwing the Mother's Day picnic over in Crow Creek Park in Bettendorf, Iowa, noon to 5. It's going to be free. There's going to be food. You don't even have to bring your mom, bring your family just to hang out and have a great picnic. Look at us go. And I don't care who you voted for. I don't care if you're a conservative or a liberal or identify as whatever. Trying to have human life come back together, all right? And right now, I got to tell you, with the way that this is going and where this is headed, you have to believe that not only do they want a uniparty system, they want to end the traditional family. Period. Period. They want to distance you from your friends and make it about tele-everything because it's transhumanism. That's really what this is. I know a lot of people don't want to go, down that trail, but the less you can be a human being, the better to these people.
Becoming at least happier, considering the nature of what you experienced from Hollywood. Is that something you regularly struggle with when it comes to being yourself and embracing who it is you're becoming and what's important about that?
I'm embracing in my life right now really just almost healing in a way, not just for me, but for so many others. You know, during the Me Too media period, it was just triggers for so many women and men alike, everybody really. And it was a painful period for very many people, as it was for me,
sure.
And my persecution and awakening from being a Democrat was so much about what I do and what I say now, and so much about realizing how hardcore of a cult it is.
It's interesting. It's the ability
it does to women and the people it says it's going to help. But then why haven't they achieved anything?
Well, see, that's it. And then we're also tied to this idea of what could happen, afraid of what we would say or not say.
First of all, you shouldn't be afraid of what you should say against a political party, especially if you identify as that political party or with that political party, right? And you are opposed to it. You should say it stronger than ever.
But without being able to be true to ourselves, even after the feminist movement, still trying to conform. And that's kind of the rub here, is this expectation that a woman like you is better off if you conform. But that is the opposite of your creativity. It's the opposite of what would fuel what makes the world interesting to you. For the bit of time that we have left, what advice would you give the young women listening, of course, but it also goes to whatever age we are, with what you've gone through and how each day takes something new, you've got to adapt all the time. What advice in this new age, as we're trying to come together and unite on the things that bring us together, what would you say to every woman watching?
You know, and again, to me, this isn't a woman issue. I get it. You got this this woman on Fox, you know, trying to empower women and talk about feminism and show people, you know, well, I'm not a Republican, but I'm a conservative, right? Look, the truth is the truth is the truth is the truth is the truth, period. And how many powerful men out there covered for other powerful men, not just Weinstein? And how was that just the tip of the iceberg? And by the way, when we talk about Weinstein, why don't we talk about Bryan Singer, a director that wasn't sexually abusing what? Women, but young men and boys, right? That was never allowed to make it out into the Me Too. So, you know, I would have liked her to ask, you know, speak to those that may not realize that they're in a cult no matter what political affiliation, and other victims of this type of abuse, whether it be men or women. And by the way, we got 200 watching, less than 100 thumbs up. Let's get those thumbs up.
I would say to every woman and man or anybody watching that freedom does come at a price. And your personal freedom comes at the price of you realizing how you're being controlled and where it's coming from, and separate. I would make a list, your belief system, and figure out what your belief system, what part of it is organic to you and what part has been implanted either by Hollywood or the media.
Dude, and this is why we played this. You know, I believe she's about to mention the Clintons and how, you know, they directly tried to protect Weinstein, who was their line into Hollywood. She's specifically talking about brainwashing outside of the government. She literally started it off correcting this woman and saying, you know, forget about me just talking to women. Let me talk to human beings out there. This is such a good watch. Or
your leaders.
Great idea.
What part of it is truly yours? What's organic to you? And see what's the polyester and pull it out of your fabric. We have to examine what we believe and why. I'm going to get a lot of hate for being on Fox News. That's just a fact. I've gotten people, you know, on the left yelling at me like, you go up against Biden, you go up against the Clintons, you go up. I'm like, yes, but all of these people had, the Clintons have had a direct hand in helping one of my perpetrators, who was one of the most powerful Democratic donors there was, and also their entree into the Hollywood world. And I've been persecuted by them, and I find that I had to even look through what had been implanted in me. So I would say look at your own belief systems.
And by the way, we all have to do that. We are all the victims of this Bernaysian type of mind control. Some people like to call it propaganda. Some people like to call it public relations, right? Some people like to call it advertising or subliminal messaging or subliminal advertising, right? It's all the same thing that triggers you through some kind of neuro-linguistic programming. Whether it's as simple as just conforming to what the group thinks is cool, right? Or much further beyond that indoctrination through sophisticated propaganda, again, coming to you from all avenues, including Hollywood and including government, Okay? Again, Rose kills it in this one.
And get free. You can still believe in whatever party you want to believe in, but not to the limit where it makes it so you cannot have a human conversation with every other person.
And it doesn't mean that even your politics change. It means that you become more free within that framework. Rose, I know that as people were to follow you on social media, they'll get an example of.
Let's just stop it right there. But there it is right there, for real. Like, you want to vote one way or the other, but there are so many people out there that cannot even have the conversation today about DARPA-run programs, boop-boops, lockdowns, passports, billionaires, because they are so indoctrinated to believe that somehow those that oppose them oppose all Democrats, or all Democrats approve of all these dictates, and it's all for our betterment. Give me a break. Guys, thumbs the video up. Less than 100 thumbs. Can we get more than 100 thumbs? Let's get the 100 thumbs up. Make the Rockfin account. Rockfin.com/Jason Burmis. If you do get a premium membership, you are supporting the broadcast. That's the main way we're doing it right now. And you get everybody's content. I hope people are enjoying the Rockfin because it is a platform for free speech. Earlier today, we did a video. I would encourage you to watch it there, as it has an extra 10 minutes of important information regarding a lawsuit that we can't talk about here because we're on YouTube. The other links are down below. jasonisvoid@yahoo.com is the PayPal. @Jason Burmis is the Venmo. Anything is much, much appreciated. Guys, again, the maskless Mother's Day picnic. We're not calling it maskless, but we sure hope that if you're coming out on Mother's Day into a beautiful park to enjoy some free barbecue with friends and family and neighbors, you won't have to wear one. Guys, I love you. Get out of your cult, and I'll see you on the flip side.